Hello everybody, it's the Historical Gamer once again, and today we're returning to Strategic Command World War II, World at War. It is our Access Let's Play. It's July 26th of 1946. We are late into the war. We've probably got about 11 turns left before the game ends. It ends in the spring of 1947. And with that being said, the war is going well for the Axis powers. Quick summary, we've taken and partitioned the Soviet Union between the Germans and the Japanese. The Germans have taken France, they've taken the Low Countries, they've taken most of North Africa, as well as driving down into the south, into Kenya. And they've also, and the Sudan, and they've also convinced the Argentinian forces to join the war. The Argentinians have taken Chile, Brazil, Bolivia, and a couple more South American countries are about to capitulate after this turn. The Japanese, on the other hand, have taken India, they've taken China, and they're in the process of invading Australia, attempting to drive on Canberra and the capital there. They've got a landing party here in the south, as well as a larger landing party up here in the north of Australia, as they attempt to take over that colony here in England, or a British colony, not in England, but it is a British Commonwealth. And then the Germans, just this last turn, successfully took London. So we have a landing force ashore in England, and we have done grievous damage to the British forces on the British Isles. The campaign is not yet over. It is not yet a guaranteed success by any means. But so far the campaign is going well, and we have just taken London. We're cramming as many troops into the British Isles as we can, and we're done with our turn, so we're ready to go ahead and conclude this turn and see how things play out as we move into August of 1946. So as you can see here, the capture of London is causing Germany to celebrate. Italian national morale is boosted by the fall of London. British morale is falling, which I believe is probably under 20% national morale, so that's a good thing for us. The British are moving their capital to Manchester. Meanwhile, Kenya is surrendering, so the British are losing yet another colony out of their empire. Bolivia is surrendering to the Argentinians, which are building a South American empire. And I think Uruguay surrenders to Argentina as well. Again, Argentina is building this South American empire. We're plundering a small amount of money from the British coffers, but not a ton. Turkey is strengthening their relations with the Axis. We're hindering supply on the island of Crete. Japanese submarines are disrupting convoys and supply into Australia. Allied raiders, on the other hand, are disrupting German supply. Germany's developing level 3 long-range aircraft, which is excellent. Now that we're driving north in England, we're going to need longer-range aircraft. Japan has developed level 2 advanced tanks, so that is also very good news for us. And apparently Mogadishu is now the capital of Italian East Africa, which I can't remember if we lost that area or not, but Germany just retook Mogadishu, so if that was part of Italian East Africa, then we have regained it. British moving some artillery south into Reading. It was the one province that we weren't able to put troops in, so it looks like they're attempting to exploit the gap in the line, although that'll become very much a salient for a artillery unit, which is not very wise because artillery units are pretty shitty when it comes to defending against attacks. These are units that should be kept off the front line, like we have with ours at Bristol. Keep it a hex behind the front line so it can support the various defenders. Meanwhile, the Americans are moving a carrier into the Atlantic, or into the Channel. That seems dicey at best. They're trying to go after our subs, which, okay, go for it. I mean, I really am happy if you're using air power against our subs. A far more effective use for the AI would be to use air power against our units in England, which the Allies continue to use a large amount of their Air Force efforts against our submarines, rather than against God, I can't think of the word. Rather than using their air power against our ground troops in England, they continue to use their air power against our submarines, which seems like a grievous misallocation of resources. Meanwhile, another American fleet has shown up off the coast of Japan. Again, I'm going to assume there's no landing forces here. This is probably just another raid against the Japanese coast, as seems to be triggered with anything past August of 1945 is the Americans just must have some sort of script where they send all of their naval assets, or a large number of their naval assets, continually in waves against Japan proper. This one has at least 2 fleet carriers and some cruisers. They badly damaged one of our own fleet carriers there. Fortunately, it's survived thus far just by the skin of its teeth. It only has 1 hit point left. So we'll probably need to make sure we protect that and have that fall back. I think my strategy will be to counter the carriers with our battleships, destroy them with our battleships so our air wings survive, and once the battleships are destroyed, then we'll go ahead, or sorry, the carriers are destroyed, then we'll go ahead and use our air wings to attack enemy surface vessels without fear of any air attack against them because they'll be relatively safe. Meanwhile, American armor has shown up here, attacking our mechanized troops here in England. A bit of an Allied counterattack with the seizure of Reading and the pushing in of American armor. They did quite a bit of damage there against that mechanized formation of ours. So we'll have to see what materializes here. There were some air attacks against our troops. Another American armored units here. So this is the first Allied armor I think we've seen since France, since the invasion of France was turned back. I haven't seen any Allied tanks, so these are some high MP value units that I plan to destroy in this next turn. Meanwhile, they pulled their sub back, so I guess they could make another stab with another sub against this carrier, and they could still finish this guy off. He only has 2 hit points left in his hull. So 1 sub certainly would be capable of delivering the coup de grace against our carrier if the Americans make the play. We'll see if they do. They apparently don't. American fighters in the Algerian desert suffering attrition. The South African First Corps in Ethiopia suffering attrition. Some partisan activity in China, hindering supply on Crete. Sinking more merchantmen near Melbourne. Axis raiders disrupting South African to UK convoys. And that's the end of the Allied turn. So we are now presented with an option here to once again attempt to destroy the American fleet. The way this game works is because air power... Oh, apparently there are only 10 turns remaining in the game. Munich damaged by bombing U-32 sunk. Okay. Intelligence shows American special forces around Honolulu. There's a corps spotted in Dili. The Turkish government continues to lean toward the Axis. We can now either attempt to extract as much trade as possible from this relationship, or we can diplomatically direct our efforts at improving the pro-Axis feeling in Turkey. The trade will be worth 5 MPPs a turn for as long as Turkey is neutral with a pro-Axis leaning, and Bulgaria, Romania, and Hungary are on our side. If we focus on improving our relationship with Turkey, the country will swing 20 to 30% toward the Axis. Would you prefer to secure the further trade, or would you prefer to improve the relationship with Turkey? I mean, honestly, I think I'd prefer the relationship with Turkey. 5 extra MPPs at this point really doesn't make a difference for me. And opening another front against the Allies won't matter because we already have everything around Turkey conquered. I would much rather make sure Turkey doesn't join the Allies and sort of stab a weak underbelly against us. So we'll go ahead and improve the relationship with Turkey. Turkey swings toward Axis. Turkey prepares for war. So that must mean that Turkey was influenced enough to prepare for war and declare war against the Allies in the next turn or two. If we go to the diplomacy screen, we will see Turkey is currently 94% Axis as they prepare for war. Not that the extra forces are going to do me a whole lot of good. I don't even know what they're going to do if they come into the war with us, but hey, who knows? Okay, so let's actually go back to Japan first. And let's reduce this American invasion fleet. So we see 1 heavy cruiser, 2 light cruisers, 2 destroyers, 1 carrier. I believe there was a second carrier. I thought we were attacked by a second American carrier. Another light cruiser over here. We're going to go after that carrier. Okay, so our battleship attacked it and drove it back. Our destroyer will go for it. See if we can run out. Oh, there's the second American carrier. We heard its air wing, but we couldn't actually destroy it yet. We'll have our second destroyer move in here and finish it off. There she goes, an American carrier down to the bottom of the ocean. Huzzah! Now I'll have our battleship here swing out wide against this American fleet carrier. Okay. And let's have... How do we want to finish her off? Maybe a battleship of level 8, just to be sure. So there we sank another American fleet carrier, 420 national morale bonus. Nice. That leaves us with an opposition of 3 light cruisers, a heavy cruiser, and 2 destroyers for us to finish off. So the first thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to send this carrier against this light cruiser. 7 damage. Wow. Then we'll send, rather than waste its air wing against the same ship finishing it off, let's send it against this light cruiser. Okay, so both these units are nearly destroyed. We'll go ahead and send this damaged carrier against the heavy cruiser to finish it off. It'll succeed. And then we'll send this air wing here to finish off the light cruiser. It'll also succeed. We will send this... What do we have? We've got another fleet carrier here to the south. So we'll move it up, and then we'll have it use its air wing against this light cruiser. Didn't quite do as much damage as I would have hoped. 5 is still substantial, and a second raid will finish it off. Meanwhile, it's currently positioned between 2 American submarines, which is not great. Our light carrier will go after... This light carrier will go after this enemy light cruiser. Not doing much damage. Let's send our battleship against this guy. Damn it, why couldn't you finish him off? Okay. So we've got this light cruiser still here. Guess we'll finish off the American light cruiser and destroy it. So 2 light, was that 2 or 3 light cruisers destroyed, 2 carriers destroyed? Ouch. This carrier needs a little bit of protection, so we're going to pop this guy out. 1 hex this guy in to port. Meanwhile, this light carrier will move closer and will bomb these destroyers. Okay, our battleship will come over here to screen, at least in part, our ships over here. And I think that does it for our naval adventures here off the coast of Japan. The rest of our navy's in the south. We don't have any air units here that can finish any of these guys off. So we do have some ships that may be vulnerable to American submarines. If the AI was smart, they would focus all their subs on 1 or 2 of our warships to finish them off. I don't know if the AI is that smart. We will see. This carrier down here, the Tai-Ho, is a little bit vulnerable to the Americans if they do swarm it. But the fact that this destroyer lost half its strength may cause the Allies to pull it back. We'll see. In any event, a very successful turn, a crippled destroyer, and then the other, 4 cruisers, 2 carriers that they lost. So if we take a look at the American... If we take a look at the American losses this turn, we'll see that they lost a huge spike here, just shy of 1,800 MPPs. National morale plummeting down below 30%. The British, after the fall of London, see their morale fall below 20%. So they're really struggling to keep people happy. Meanwhile, the American Navy's down to 21 units. The British are down to 9. So the American Navy was at like 30 a couple turns ago. So we've reduced it pretty substantially with another major battle off the coast of Japan. Let's go ahead and let's not forget about these troops up here in the north. Let's go ahead and give some long-range transports to some of these units because they are going to move south to... I can't move them the same turn as I load them up, but they're going to move south to Australia. These guys have nowhere to go, do they? Move this mechanized troop, long-range transports. All right, so we're going to move all these guys that we just loaded up into transports out of Japan. These guys who we actually put on transports can move right away. They'll move south to Peleliu. They can't get all the way there, but they can get close to Australia. Meanwhile, I think we had some Japanese troops who are loading up on transports in India as well. So we'll move these guys down to the Dutch East Indies. Same for these guys. These guys can go a little bit further. They can get to Surabaya. Oh, shit. No, they ran into American subs. No. Well, they're going to be goners this turn, probably. Those guys are at a damaged port, so they can't get on transports. Japan has huge sea lift capacity. Let's swing to the outside and stick to Tigilap rather than move into the Java Sea where these American subs are. That would probably be the safer route. Alright, we'll move this headquarter unit to Bombay. Move Umazai's headquarter unit down to Padang. That's going to cause us to transport the 34th Japanese Army down this way. We'll move it to Oosthaven. Again, to the west of the American submarines. Move this to Calcutta. Okay. These guys, oh wait, there's already a unit in Peshawar. So let's actually, can we operate these guys to the coast to a port where they can, actually what, this is 3, rating 7, rating 8. So yeah, let's operate this guy to the coast, to Calcutta, or Calicut. These guys will move to Delhi, where they'll provide partisan defense. Okay, so I think that does it for Japan, at least for their continental stuff and their Japanese territory stuff. Now we've got to do our Australia stuff. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and bomb these American troops at Mount Isa, or Isa. Can we hit them with everybody? We can. Nice, that was a 4 hit. 2 hit. Maybe we'll finish them off? Yeah, we destroyed an American army at Mount Isa entirely via air power. Move our infantry south. They'll attack the special forces units there, the Australian special forces units there, and drive even further south. So now we'll move this army unit this direction. We'll keep 1 unit here at Normanton here to defend against our flank. And then we'll attack this unit here, the CMF Corps in Australia. That's a little bit exposed. They're kind of out in the middle of the desert. They don't have a ton of supply out here in the outback. Unfortunately, I can't finish them off with anything. I don't have any units that are capable of finishing them. But these guys are going to move south to Alice Springs. These guys will continue advancing south into the heartland of Australia. And the armor will go with them. So you can see here we've got a 2-pronged advance into the heartland of Australia as we're kind of bypassing the strong points along the coast. We'll see if that's a wise strategy or not. It is a little bit dicey. Could lead to some undesirable results. And actually, to that point, let's go ahead and throw these guys on transports. And where can we get them to? I don't think Normanton has a port, so let's bring them to Darwin. These paratroopers are going to move east toward Normanton. Oh, shit. I can't bring these guys to shore yet. Well, the 37th Army will come ashore at Darwin and defend the port there, which is our only port link out to the rest of the world. The airborne will move to Normanton, so these guys will defend against any counterattack coming from Cairns. And this air power needs to keep moving south. With the troops. Meanwhile, on the southern coast, should we upgrade our tanks to level 2? I think we will. Let's go ahead and reinforce these guys. The weather still kind of sucks. I'll reinforce these Marines also. All right, so that's the situation in Southern Australia. We're just kind of biding our time, kind of hanging in there. All right, American jets at Canberra, or near Canberra. Our air wing just got devastated by them. Tried to bomb them. Got nothing out of it. This port is 0. Really? It's interesting. I guess maybe it's because we've got our sub blockading the port. Alright, so we'll do some damage to the port at Brisbane. Alright, so we've got 2 ships at the port of Brisbane. The port of Brisbane's down to 3 capacity, which means it's being hurt from a supply perspective. And the ships will also destroy Australian commerce coming into the port. So that should hurt the supply of the American paratroopers, which already don't have great supply at Brisbane. So hopefully it prevents any sort of serious counterattack against our troops here in the south, as our troops in the north drive deep into the interior of Australia, hopefully not outstripping our supplies. Some of these guys are already pretty low on supply, but I'm trying to keep the supply up by moving our headquarters south in Alice Springs. Meanwhile, we've put a bunch of other troops up in Japan in ships, but they can't move this turn. So I think that about concludes our turn from Japan's perspective. Yeah, so with that being said, we'll move to Africa. We'll move the Syrian Corps forward here out of Addis Ababa, or however you pronounce that. Go ahead and set these guys to... Oh, they can't set to prepare mode. Interesting. Well, we'll move them forward here to get them better supply, hopefully. These guys in Mogadishu are going to reinforce. 8th German Army comes ashore. And we'll focus on reducing British Somaliland. Meanwhile, our troops in Kenya are going to kind of rest and relax before driving south on Rhodesia. Our troops in North Africa, we could drive them inland to try and deal with the American fighters. If we can even get that far inland with our supply situation. Honestly, we're probably better off just kind of holding back rather than advancing into the interior of Algeria. So that's what we'll do. We'll hold back. Turkey should be joining the war next turn. We'll see what they bring to bear. These subs here that move back to the Bay of Biscay, we'll go ahead and reinforce. Subs at St. Nazaire also reinforce. They can't fully build everything back up in one turn. Interesting that they weren't able to destroy this transport. The American carrier is still in the channel. Let's sink the fuck. I'd prefer not to use any of my air power against it. I'd rather just sink it on our own. So we'll see if we can accomplish that task. Almost. We're almost there. We've got 1 sub left of 3 hit points. We have a motor torpedo boat. The motor torpedo boat can't quite make it there. At least it's boxed in. I don't think I can retreat. We'll see if this sub can finish it. No! Where's our maritime bomber? So we'll go after it with our maritime bomber. It'll lead up some allied escorts. It'll take some casualties. Our own escorts will take some casualties. What? It didn't sink it? Let's go for it again. Hopefully they don't destroy us this time. We're down to 4 hit points. Got it! No, they got us. Well, I'll gladly take an air unit in a trade to get a carrier. So that destroyed unit brings the American Navy down to 20 units. Meanwhile, the guns at Reading, Reading. Wait, where's the defensive artillery? Are they firing in defense of themselves? Alright, so between the paratroopers attacking and our own artillery, we finished that unit off. Let's go ahead and move our... mechanized troops forward. They're going to attack this British or this American infantry here just west of London. And then they're actually going to fall back to Reading. Our Panthers are going to move into Reading. And they're going to attack the American armor here to the south of Birmingham. We'll then have our damaged mechanized units here finish off the American armor. And then our Panthers in Reading will finish off this American unit. They're going to stay in place. Where do we want this heavy Tiger unit to go? Alright, so this Panther unit here is going to attack and destroy the garrison at Cambridge. They'll advance. And then they'll attack and destroy this British tactical air unit here to the west of Cambridge. Our heavy tanks in London will move north and attack the American armor just to the northwest of London. They took some pretty heavy casualties there. The good news is they shouldn't have to be the front line for much longer. Our infantry will move forward, destroy that unit. These guys will fall back. This German corps will advance. Oh, crap. 15th German will come into London and unload. Okay. Alright, so these guys already attacked. These guys didn't. Alright, now I think we're going to get our air power into action. I think. Whoa, 9. They have no supply. Nice. Free unit destroyed. Why did I move that? That was silly. Whatever. Our paratroopers can move forward there. Okay, so we destroyed that American unit here west of Cardiff. This mechanized unit needs to pull back a little bit to resupply. Move a headquarters unit forward a little bit. Alright, I want to destroy these troops in Birmingham if I can reach them. Actually, let's destroy these American units here to the east of Cambridge. Looks like we can have a little more success against them with our air units. I'm guessing they're not dug in. I didn't actually look, but I'm guessing the troops in Birmingham are entrenched. So defensive artillery, interceptors, etc., etc. Okay, we've softened them up pretty good, I think. Our own infantry can't quite finish them off. More escorts, more air combat. Wow, 4 Allied aircraft destroyed in the combat there. The Italians here will finish them off. I wonder how they decide who escorts what. Like, is it on some kind of sliding scale? Really? So we destroyed them, but we can't move anyone into their hex. Alright. Meanwhile, these guys at Birmingham are dug in. So what we're actually going to do is I saved these medium bombers to hopefully reduce the British troops at Birmingham as we're kind of dealing with more and more enemy escorts. I know tactical bombers reduce entrenchment. Looks like medium bombers do as well. And they're not, the medium bombers, despite the level 2 ground attack, don't seem to be very effective at actually doing damage to the units. But again, they're reducing the fortifications. So that's a good role for them no matter what anyway. Ah, shit, these guys can't reach. I think all these other guys already flew. These medium bombers can't reach. These guys, this tactical unit can. Okay. Let's actually bomb this anti-aircraft gun. Alright, so these guys have had their fortifications completely removed. Their morale is at 9%. Yikes. We'll move this army, the 13th Army, forward to attack. The Panther Heavy. Alright, we should take Birmingham this turn. We at least destroyed the enemy unit there. So we'll move these unit into Birmingham. We took the city. Alright, let's get some additional... Alright, this Panther unit that's going to move there to guard the flank there. Let's get some additional troops ashore. So let's bring these guys in. Transport. 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 So we're going to move 3 more units in, including this Waffen SS unit. Oh, nice. They can move directly to the front. Okay. So the Waffen Special Forces unit, I have no idea how good they are, but they're apparently effective at attacking anti-aircraft guns. We'll see if they die. I'd like to move these guys out of Cambridge to the west to take this territory here and extend our front against Manchester, but I also have no idea how likely the Allies are to move back in and retake Birmingham. Probably pretty likely. I'd rather not invite them to do that. So we won't do that. Let's move these guys here into Maidstrom. Okay. We've got this Panther unit, this tank unit here. Can we move them? I don't know if that's a smart... If I'm asking that question, it's probably not. So we can get them as far as here safely. Looks like we can get them over here safely, so let's move them here. Land them near the front. And then we're going to have them attack this American headquarters unit. They'll drive it back, do some serious damage to it. And without the headquarters unit, American units, I think, will struggle to get supply. But the good result there as we drove them back and got another unit ashore. Meanwhile, we really do need another headquarters unit in England. So we'll go ahead and move this guy. Move the fighter unit here, move the headquarters unit in. Alright, so we've got about as many troops as we can cram into England at this time, I think. So I think that's going to do it. We might be able to fit one more here down near Portsmouth, maybe, but I think that's good for now. Let's actually move some of our tactical air units. Since they all attack this turn, we really do want to make sure that they're able to help out the cause next turn. So we move the one, maybe one more fighter unit. This guy moves into Brest. This guy upgrade? What was the... Oh, he can't. Nice, so we got level 3 ground attack and level 3 long-range aircraft, so we can start to upgrade some of our units to make them a little bit better. Not the ones that bombed, obviously, but the one unit that didn't bomb we can. Some of our fighter units also can upgrade to level 3 long-range aircraft, which should go a long way in helping us penetrate deep into England. So we've finally got some long-legged aircraft, fighters as well, well, really everything. So that's good. It's good. Everybody else acted, I think. Can't reach that. Can we? We can't make it longer range. Can't put him on transports either. So I think that's going to do it for Germany's turn. We still have quite a bit of money left for Germany. What's our production queue look like? We got a bunch of stuff coming in August. So actually next turn. Some stuff coming in December. Can we build anything new? We did lose the one maritime bomber unit. So I suppose we can build one of those. Heavy artillery only takes 4 turns, so that would arrive in time. We did find the artillery in England relatively useful. So we'll do the same with the rocket artillery. This stuff only takes 3 turns, so it's even faster. I don't really know about it needing much in the way of more land forces, but we will build one more army. And that'll spend more or less all of our German money this turn. Japan, we're not going to spend any of the money right now. Suppose we could try and move some of these naval assets of Italy into the Atlantic. Maybe once we get some of these destroyers repaired. And then, because we're going to go for Manchester, but once Manchester falls, then we're still going to have to deal with Edinburgh. My goal is to knock England out of the war entirely by the end of the game. We've got 10 more turns, which means 9 more turns to attack. I'm sure we can get to Manchester by the end of that. I don't know about Edinburgh, but I think Manchester and London are the 2 objectives to get a completely decisive victory. Let's move this army back into Peru and see if we can make a land march to Ecuador. They're neutral, but if we can take Ecuador, then we've got a road to Bogota and to Caracas. And this corps will go for Aswan. Once we get there, we'll declare war. So that's Argentina. We did Africa. We did Australia. The troops in India and Japan. Yeah, so I think that's about it for this turn. As we move through August of 1946. Next turn will be September. The weather will probably start to turn, so it's a good thing we've already got all our troops ashore in England. We'll have to see how that plays out. But until next time, guys, this is the Historical Gamer saying once again, thank you for watching. And as we close in on the end of this game, thank you for watching, and until next time, we're out.